Today, I'm going to share with you an idea that might completely change your entire life and how you function in this world. And I want to share with you before we dive in. You're probably seeing the title right now and you're like, this is just like if you were like me 12 months ago, I would have had the thoughts of like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. What are you saying to take the easy path forward, the path of least resistance? Everyone else's success is very, very hard, and I've got to do all these things I think I should do. I know where you're coming from. I want to share this because I believe that a lot of people who make these type of trainings, they don't have the success that a lot of people want, right? Or they haven't actually gotten the results to prove it. So they're just kind of talking out of their butt. I've actually got success in my life, though. I'm 25. I built a successful business. I've transformed over 500 plus people's lives. I've built my own dream health state, my own dream mind, and my own kind of dream life as well. And I do what I love every single day. And I will tell you this, that I've accomplished success in two ways. Number one is the path that most people take. The should, the grit, the hard work, the discipline, the grind, the suffering, the stoic way. I've done that path. And I've also done the alignment, the spiritual, the manifesting way, and actually respected and applied the methods. I would say I've always manifested. I mean, you're always manifesting every single second. I've always manifested by having the vision and chasing after it. But the way I would act and show up in the world to accomplish my dreams wasn't based off alignment and actually practicing manifesting. It was more so based off old programs. Like, hey, for example, if I want to accomplish money success, money is hard. Money is stressful. So I would act off those old programs and be stressed out and trying to make the money or whatever it may be. But I've also, again, done it the other way and accomplished success now, which is following my flow, following my natural alignment, taking the path of least resistance. And both have worked. Both have worked magically. But I will tell you this, in the past year that I've been on to this and following my alignments and really on this journey of mine, my life has gotten 100 times better. My life has gotten a hundred times better. And my clients' results, based off the stuff that I've been learning, has helped them exponentially. So I'm so excited to share this with you guys. I'll ask is that you keep an open mind, you like and subscribe. This has an impact on you, and I would love to hear your comments below as well. Okay, so the secret is the path of least resistance. Taking the path of least resistance. Take the easy way. Now, first and foremost, you're thinking like, again, what is he talking about? Because every single person says that you need to work extremely hard in order to succeed. You need to bust your butt in order to succeed in this life. Here's how I'm going to break it down with you today. So, the whole entire idea behind this is where you're kind of separating yourself from your animal self to your higher self. And this method that I'm going to teach you today is all about how creation works, how manifesting works, and how to fully tap in, tune into it. So think of it like this. Let's say you have a desire, and this is your desire down here. Okay, so your desire is the goal of what you want to accomplish in your life. Right? The whole idea is that this blue line right here, this is the river. This is the flow. This is the path of least resistance that's going to get you to that goal. Okay. So if you just naturally get into this flow, you're going to get there as soon as possible, the least resistance as possible, right? You're going with the flow. What most of us do is that we'll have a desire in our life, but then we try to swim upstream to go get it. We don't go in with the flow. And here's what I mean by the flow. Okay. So I'm going to really break this down with you guys today. So here's what I mean. When we do this, this is coming from the animal brain. And when we do the other, we naturally get into flow in the path of least resistance. This is what I call the higher mind. And I want you to think of it like this. So your animal mind, right, versus the higher self. The animal mind likes to function off of identity, ego, safety, security, survival. That's the animal brain. Okay, so the animal brain is going to focus on survival. It's going to focus on functioning based off programs, habits, patterns. It also has limiting beliefs, and it also has fears. Okay. And it wants, what does it want? It wants safety and it likes control. And it's coming from scarcity way of being. So that's the animal self. Okay. And then the higher self is, and it's cool because if you look at the frequency chart, it all connects. Instead of survival, it wants to thrive. The higher self loves the unknown. It loves new experience. The higher self loves love, unconditional love. It loves abundance. It loves flow. It loves letting go. It loves to accept. It loves to allow. Again, all of these words are so easy, right? When I say safety, when I say control, it's constricting. But when I say flow, abundance, love, it's expanding. It literally sounds it as I say it. So the higher self is focused on expanding. Animal self is focusing on constricting. Okay. So when we go out into our lives and we go after these goals, right? Think of it like this. This is what most people do. Okay. So the animal, and we'll say the higher, right? So the animal, so you start out with one is you have a goal or a desire, right? And then what happens is that the animal self tries to control it all and go based off of its programs. Okay. Programs as in your limiting beliefs and your fears. Because for those who don't know, and if you haven't watched my other trainings, what we've discovered is that your core belief systems, okay, so think of it like this. Here is your eyeball. You're looking out into the world. You're creating your world, right? Your core limiting beliefs and fears, it's what's producing how you see reality, how you show up, how you take action. So basically how it works is those limiting beliefs and fears cause the thoughts that you have, which produce the emotions, which neuroscience shows that thoughts and emotions held over time creates identity, which influences how you take action consistently over time, which gets you the results in your life, which will then reinforce that same old belief system. So it's kind of creating your personal reality. So this is how the animal brain functions. Is it functions off these programs, right? It doesn't question itself. It wants safety and security. It wants things to stay the same. So it's like, okay, I had this goal of mine. I have this thing that I want to achieve and accomplish in my life. This is how I'm going to go after it. Okay, so I got the goal. Okay, so I got the goal, and I'm going to try to control every step, and I'm going to function and act based off these programs, these limiting beliefs and fears that I have. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, your goal is you want to make money in your life, right? And you have a limiting belief that money equals hard. Money equals stress. What you're going to end up doing is you're going to act and function based off of these core beliefs that you have. So you're going to take the animal way. You're going to take the controlled way. You're going to take the programmed way to try to get to your goal. All right. So what we often think is, okay, well, this is the best path forward because this is what I can control, right? So this is where I'm starting and this is where I want to go, right? If I know that I can control the steps to get to here, and I know that, okay, these are the programs I'm acting off of, and I know that remember, I want survival, I want safety, so I need to have control. I can't trust, right? I can't just allow things to work out the way they work out. So we start this journey and we go after these goals, but we're functioning, the route that we're coming from is is those core beliefs, those fears. So that's influencing how we show up and take action in the world to try to go out and achieve those goals. And here's what I will say, this is kind of the stoic way. It takes a rare breed of person to accomplish massive amount of success. And when it comes to this, because you need extreme grit. You need to come from a place of extreme grit, discipline. You need to think outside the box and really try to be as smart as possible to get there. And you're going to hustle and grind your way there and grit your way there. And the reason why is because we're doing this, we're chasing our success based off these old programs. We're coming from a place of lack, we're coming from a place of, I need this, right? And we're going out and we're functioning off all these programs. Now, the higher self does this. Number one, the higher self, it has the desire, the goal, and then number two, it just gets into flow. It gets into alignment with the goal. And then it attracts, or should I say it becomes. And here's what I mean is think of it like this. So higher self does this. Okay, so again, they have the goal, right? And then they match the state. So what I mean by matching the state is what does it feel like? What does it feel like if you were to accomplish that goal? Right? What would that feel like? Because that's the frequency, that's the emotion, right? So that's what we want to attract. Because remember, we only do things because of the feeling that we think we're going to get from them. So when you imagine yourself getting in that car, living in that location, having that body, how does that make you feel? Okay. So I'm going to feel super free and confident. Okay. So then next step number two is that you're going to match that state. So that means you're going to feel free and confident, for example, now. Okay? Because now you're matching the state. And number three is you allow. You get into this river. And what that means is that you are only focused on your state of being. Anything else after, it's not in your control. It's not up to you. You allow it to unfold. You only focus on your personal state of being, and that's it. You had a desire, you ask what you want, and then you let go and you go live your life and you focus on being in that state of being and attracting it, vibrating and staying on that frequency of what it is that you already want. Because here's what's going to happen is that, so let's say this is the state that you need to be in. Okay, so let's say this line here is the frequency that you need to be in. Okay, this is how you need to be. This is how you need to vibrate to have what it is that you want. Because think, your goal self, the only difference between your goal self and you right now, right, is that they think, feel, act differently. Therefore, they get different results. Right? They just acted differently and they got different results. Plain and simple. But how do you change your actions? By changing your identity, right? By changing your most dominant state, who you are. So that's your thoughts and emotions. But how do you change those? The fastest and easiest way possible is you change your core beliefs. The core beliefs that you have about yourself, the fears that you have. You change those, you unplug those. So let's say me now. So I set the goal and now I'm staying in the state, right? And all I'm focused on staying in the state. So I know now that, okay, the formula shows that if I'm feeling in the state, naturally, we all know how we can act. Like what I mean by that is like when you visualize your dream self and who you want to be, you already know kind of how they act and what they do. You already kind of have an idea of what you can be doing today to act like them now, right? So when you have the feeling, what's going to happen is when I focus on my state of being, I focus on the state, the feeling, all right, I'm going to start to naturally act in that way and I'm going to start to get different results. But the best thing about this is going to bring up old anchors. Okay? This is going to bring up old anchors. And what I mean by that is like as I'm changing my internal state, my external world, so the external will not change yet. It's not going to change immediately. So it's going to bring up resistance in my way And the resistance is old programs that I've had. So let's say I still have the old program of money is hard, right? And I'm trying to attract it into my life. And I'm going out into my world. And the external world right now is reflecting to me that money is hard. So I caught myself in a pattern. I caught myself very, very stressed out trying to make money, going back into what I should be doing rather than what feels in alignment, right? So, for example, what I mean by that is like, okay, well, my higher self, what they would do is they would get into that state of being, they would focus on how they feel, they'd get their beliefs, everything on track, and then they would act based upon that state. And they would trust in those actions, even if they didn't make sense, they would trust that they would take the most aligned actions to get to where they want to go. But my old program self got back into fear and it goes into, okay, well, this is how I should act. This is how I think I should act. This is going to help me have the most control over the situation. This is how I think I should act. So we'll go and do what we think we should do and act, right? And then next thing you know, we're connecting stress into the formula with money because that's our core beliefs. Remember, your beliefs will always find a way to come true over and over and over again. Your beliefs do not want to change. So let's say I'm acting, I'm getting into the feeling, right? I'm acting, and then something pops up in my external reality, and I go back into that stress mode and money. Okay, well, the part of the higher self, when you follow the higher self, is this stuff will pop up. You recognize it, you realize that it's not actually in alignment with who you are. You realize that it's just a false program, it's just a limiting belief, right? And you let it go and you get back into what's actually universally true. Money is just energy, money is just flow. Money does not mean stress, right? So we rewire, we release that old limiting belief, that old anchor. And as we do that, we feel much better because now we're even more in tune with who we want to be, right? And we get right back into alignment. So we learn that lesson that we need about whatever was going on there so we can get closer and closer to who we want to become, where we want to go. Because think of it like this. The person of you, let's say, for example, if it's money again, that you're trying to accomplish money, right? They don't have those beliefs and those feelings around money, that money equals stress. So that needs to go. So remember, it's like the saying, I asked God for strength, He gave me challenges to get stronger. When these challenges pop up, they're there for you. And when you stay in that higher state, that higher mind state, that's how you'll perceive the things happening that happens between you and your goal. You'll perceive them not as a stoppage, not as you suck or you're not good enough. You'll see them as a piece of the puzzle that's needed to get to where you want to go. There's either a lesson in them or there's something where you'll learn of what you don't prefer so you know what it is that you do prefer. Or there might be a limiting belief that will pop up to the surface or a fear that you can rewire so you can get back into flow with who it is that you actually want to be, where it is that you're actually going. Right? So that's the whole idea behind it is that when you trust in your higher self, all you focus on, you take the path of least resistance. You say, okay, this is what I just dream of, right? And this is how it's going to feel when I'm there. And I'm going to focus on feeling that way now because I know that my most dominant state of feeling, my most dominant state of being is basically how I'm going to take action in the future. It's going to influence how I take consistent action. Because again, how do you take consistent action? You take consistent action based off your core identity, right? Your behaviors, your actions form based off your core identity. Or if you identify with this political side, you will act in that way. If you identify with this political side, you'll act in that way, right? So you take action based off that core identity. So you focus on the state of being. Okay, you focus on the state of being. You start working on your positive thoughts and feeling, and you're staying in that state as if you're already at the goal now. And now you're acting towards it. And now, as you're acting towards it, resistance and stuff is popping up for you to work through so you can let go of it and keep getting back into flow, keep getting back into flow. And eventually, you're going to wake up someday and you're going to have completely different results in your life because you've been able to take consistently different actions. You've been able to work through and let go of old programs and ways of being. You're thinking and feeling differently, right? You believe differently about yourself. You act differently, and now you have different results. Now you have what it is that you want. But all you mainly focused on was your personal state of being, focusing on how do I stay in the state of being? And when things pop up in my life, I observe them. I don't react to them. I don't go back to safety and security. I don't go back to survival functioning. I observe it neutrally. I either, if I don't prefer it, then I realize, okay, what is the limiting belief behind it that's causing me to feel this way? What is the fear that I'm facing that's causing me to experience this? What is the lesson I need to learn in this to get to where I want to go? You go through it, you get back into that flow, and you keep going to where you want to go. And that is the whole idea behind alignment and manifesting and taking the path of least resistance. That your higher mind can see the synchronicities and the patterns that your animal mind, your safety mind cannot see. Science even proves this as well. When you're stuck in that safety mode, when you're stuck in that fight or flight mode, you can't have creative thinking. You're only focused on survival. Your body's not in a healing and repairing state. It's actually in an inflammatory, unhealthy state. So the science actually connects with this as well. The path of least resistance, the best path forward, the proper heart coherence, getting in alignment with your true self, getting in alignment with your true self. Okay. Acting off those highest states of being. Think and feel, what do I want to become? How do I want to feel? Okay. Usually it's going to be your highest excitement, your highest joy. And then take action based off that now. And then trust that anything that pops up in the way of you and that desire, anything that causes you pain, resistance, suffering, is just a lesson to be learned, or it's a limiting belief or a fear to let go of that's causing you to give that experience the meaning that you're giving it or define it in that way that's causing the suffering or the struggle or the challenge or whatever it may be. Pluck those out, get back in the new state of being. You'll see the world in a new lens and you'll be more and more and more aligned with where you want to go. But the animal self, right? So the animal self is it wants to function off of its same habits, patterns, actions, etc. Right? So it's okay. I've got the goal and this is number two is this is what I should do. So we'll set up this like crazy discipline schedule, right? We'll have all these things of like what we've got to do, and this is what we think we should do to get to the goal, right? So now we're coming off of a place of not alignment. We're coming off a place of this is what I should do. So we need the discipline. We need to grit, right? We need all that stuff to be able to show up and to take actions on all these things that we think we should do that's going to get us to our goal. And what happens over time is that, yeah, these actions will lead to walls, and then you'll go back to the drawing board, and then you'll work around it. And eventually, for some of us, we will get to that goal if we come from that place, right? The grit, the hard work, the discipline. But 90% plus of people, what does happen is that they just burn out. They give up. They get too scared, right? Fear takes over. Self-doubt takes over. They don't believe in themselves. They don't trust in themselves. They're trying to start the business and it's not working out in the first few months, so they quit. They're trying to lose weight, but old fears of failure pop up, so they quit, right? Or old limiting beliefs around I don't have time, so they let that story play out and they quit, right? The animal brain is getting too caught up in the same story. You're trying to get at the same story, but what you're doing is you're just reading the same book over and over and over again. Function the same way, same programs, same patterns, same habits, same way of thinking, same way of being. And again, the people who can get out are the ones who can really grit their way out, who can stay extremely disciplined for a long period of time, consistently act in ways that they don't want to get to that goal. It's possible. It's 100% possible. What I'm telling you is there's a much better way. And the much better way is alignment, is following alignment, having trust in the unknown, acting and operating from a place of abundance, of pure love, of flow. And when you do that, things start to reorganize itself. Things start to pop up in your life. Things start to show up at the perfect timing. You start to catch the right opportunities. But all you're doing is you're focusing on your state of being. You're becoming a literal magnet to attract what it is that you want. So, as we end off this video here, some of the things that you can take away from this today is number one, so let me just unshare the screen. So, some of the things that you can take away from this training here today is number one is acting in alignment. So, what I do, for example, is every day I already know what I want. I know my goals, I know my desires, and I get myself in that state of being. So what I'll do is I'll journal out my goals, I'll journal out how grateful I am, I'll get myself in that good state of being of like what is it that I want, what's my dreams, my goals, and I'll focus on how that feels if I've already accomplished those, and I'll get into that good state. And then after I get into that good state, if there's any resistance that pops up, I'll rewire like the inner beliefs and the fears that might be going on. That's kind of unsteady. I'll work through those. Then I'm in that high state of being. Then I just ask myself, what do I want to do with this energy? Do I want to create? Do I want to move my body? Do I want to relax? What do I want to do? And I just trust and I stay in the present moment and I follow that highest excitement. I follow that alignment and that will take me to the next thing. So let's say, I'm working through the day because I'm in that creative energy field. I'm working. And then let's say as I'm working, I have a thought pop up of things are not working out the way I want. And that puts me in a scared, fearful state, right? What most people do is when they're operating from I should do this in the animal brain, right? They'll use that as like fear. It's like, okay, I need to work harder. I need to do this, or I need to go do these things, or I think I should go do these things, right? And kind of steers off the track. But when you follow the path of alignment, right, what you do is you observe. You recognize this old thought coming up. You realize that, hey, this is not a part of the program that I'm building. This is not a part of the program that I want anymore. This way of operating is coming from an old way of being. What would I have to believe to be true about myself in order to think that way right now? Oh, that things are never working out for me. Is that universally true? No. So you rewire that limiting belief. You get back into what's actually true. Everything is happening for me. I'm right on time. Okay, that feels like flow. Then you get back in the flow and you follow that energy. So you just rewired, you let go of that anchor. Now you're raising your vibration. Now you're raising your frequency more and more to what you want. And you keep in that alignment and you keep following that. And I promise you, like I've been doing this for about 6+ months now or so, and my entire life has changed. And here's the thing is that like I'm super fit, but it doesn't take discipline to eat healthy. It doesn't take discipline to work out, to sleep. It's all in alignment. I'm following my energy. Okay, my energy, I feel like I want to sleep now. So I go to bed. All right, it's time to eat. It's time to eat. And naturally, I want to eat the right foods. Why? Because my core belief system is in alignment with what it is that I already want. I see myself as a fit and healthy person, and it feels awesome. So naturally, I want to act in that way because it's aligned with my core identity, my core beliefs about myself, right? So that's how you do it. That is the idea behind following alignment. All right. So following alignment, which is your emotions is kind of like the compass, right? And trusting that path, letting go of the how, letting go of the control, and just focusing on being present, using up that energy and using it as a compass and letting that guide you to what it is that you want, the law of attraction. And then there's the other way that you can also do is the should way, the animal way. I'm coming from safety and security. I want to accomplish this thing. This is the way that I've always functioned in my life. These are my programs that I've had since a child. So this is how I'm going to act and show up in the world. And I'm going to go. Right? This is why you see a lot of people who are born into rich families will get rich over and over again. But a lot of people who are born into poor families, and let's say they win the lottery, for example, they lose it in like 5 years on average, like 80% plus of them. Why? Because those inner beliefs, those inner programs are not in alignment, right? So the money comes in, but their nervous system can't handle it. They can't handle it because it's not in alignment with their belief system. So it repels, gets pushed away. Rather than someone who is born to a rich family, has those beliefs already functions off that state. So they attract more and more of it into their lives. So that is the training for today, guys, though. I really hope this made some sort of sense on how you can take the path of least resistance towards your goals and how it actually all kind of connects and how that all really, really works. But I will just say this, that I've been personally doing this, so I'm never just going to share something without doing it myself. I've been personally doing this now for about 5, 6 months, and my personal life has getting 100 times better. Most importantly, my mental state, my mindset, my self belief, and just overall how I feel about myself, how I show up in this world. My mental health has gotten 100 times better. How I see the world, how I function, so much better. So that's a training for today, though, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Now, I would love to hear your comments below. What hit most for you? What stands out? What are your thoughts on this? I'd love, love, love to hear your feedback and your shares, and maybe I'll make a more in-depth training after based off that. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time.